Welcome to the Broncos Podcast with Troy Renck. I am your host, Troy Renck from the Denver Post. Hope you have had a wonderful week. Thank you for joining me from wherever you are, on your laptop, on your phone. Maybe you're just listening to the sky and hear my voice talking Broncos. Broncos, your Denver Broncos, Broncos country, have won 2 straight, 3 of the first 4 on the road, 4 straight games against defensive coordinators. This week sets up as a possible breakout, and it frankly needs to be, for Bo Nix and the offense as they host the Raiders. I'd normally make fun of the Raiders. How can you make fun of them? They've beaten the Broncos 8 straight times. During that time, both teams are under 500, but the Raiders have only gone to the playoffs once in that stretch of those 4 years. It has been forever since the Broncos beat the Raiders. It's one thing to lose 16 straight to the Chiefs. Every game you lost during that time, the Chiefs won the division and won Super Bowls several times. The Raiders did none of that, and you've lost to them 8 straight times. So that is kind of the backdrop. It's alumni weekend. You're going to have the new Ring of Fame pillars for Steve Foley and Riley Odoms in a pregame ceremony at 11:30, and the Broncos, thankfully, wearing their throwback jerseys. These go all the way back to 1977, but they'll look very similar to the ones they wore all the way up to 96, which is the orange. Feeling the orange, folks. I am, and I love the old school D logo on the blue helmet. I know why they changed the helmet. It changed. They won the Super Bowl the first year they changed to the new horsepower helmet. I get it. I'm a baseball guy. Big A behind the screen is a baseball guy. I love the old school look, and it should be rocking the stadium. It's supposed to be a beautiful day. It is time for the Broncos to make a statement offensively. 8 is enough. How many times can you lose to the Raiders in a row? So we're going to look at that, preview it. It's Bo time, I'm telling you. Then I had a chance to talk with Jonathon Cooper. Superhero inspires his game. I think you'll find that interesting in an interview, a one-on-one I had with Mr. Cooper. And can the Broncos once again lean on that orange crutch defense? Because their defense is the reason they've been in every game, and frankly, the reason they've won 2 games. The defense under Vance Joseph has been outstanding. So we're going to get into all of it. It's Raider week, Raider game Sunday afternoon. It's going to be a postcard perfect environment with blue skies, sunshine, time for the Broncos offense in front of a sellout crowd to end the streak against the Raiders. We're going to get to all of it after the break. Well, if you've been hurt in a car wreck or injured at work, what are you waiting for? Give my friends at Hoggett Injury Law a call. Their motto, with us, it's personal. That's because it is. I've known Darby Hoggett forever. We traveled the country watching our boys play baseball, and we talked a lot of football. And he told me, do a Broncos podcast. I'm so grateful he did, because you guys, Broncos country, have responded to this pod in great ways. So, again, I became Darby's good friend. Many of his clients become his good friend. You don't even have to pay Darby up front. If your case goes as planned, Darby will be the one writing checks to you. So again, if you've been hurt in a car wreck or injured at work, what are you waiting for? Give Darby a call. That number is 1-833-HOGGATT. That's 1-833-HOGGET, or visit the website at hoggettlaw.com. Well, welcome to a new sponsor for us here at the podcast, Bet Online. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at this big weekly prize and a share of $200K. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on the game of blackjack or poker, or just unwind with one of our over 150 slots. Man, just head to the website today. Get in on the action. That's Bet Online. The game starts here. Welcome back to the Broncos Pod with Troy Renck. I am your host, Troy Renck from the Denver Post. Well, it is Raiders week, and the Broncos, this is a favorable matchup. They're favored in the game. I think it's 2.5 is where the line sits now, and that's fair. That's basically home field advantage. Unfortunately, the Broncos have had none of that in this rivalry over the last 4 years. But I wrote a column earlier this week about it's Bo time. I mean, this is the time where Bo Nix needs to announce himself to Broncos country and live up to the hype and the talent we saw in the preseason. Because frankly, other than a quarter against Tampa Bay and a few throws mixed in against the Jets, we haven't seen a consistent performance from Bo Nix. He ranks near the bottom, folks, in every statistical category. And if you want to somehow convince yourself it was a monsoon last week in New Jersey, and that's why he had historically one of the worst games ever by a Broncos quarterback, have at it. I love the way he competes. And again, having faith and believing when nothing says he should, I love that. Again, that's why I compared him to Tim Tebow. And he throws the football way better than Tim Tebow. I understand that. But you're not going to win many games with 60 yards passing. And it wasn't that bad, folks. I've covered snow games. I've covered wind games. It wasn't great, but it wasn't 60 yards passing bad. It was not that. So Bo Nix has a chance against a Raiders defense that's hurting, is struggling a little bit, to make a statement. First things first, it needs to start with the run game. And you look at the stats, and the Raiders aren't great against the run. They are a team that's allowing 137.5 yards against the rush. That ranks 24th. Pretty much every statistical category, the Raiders defense ranks near the bottom. That's where it starts. No Tyler Bidet. Unfortunately, we're praying for him. He's had the back injury. He's likely going to end up on injured reserve. That decision hasn't been made yet, but he's out. So you're going to see a heavy dose of Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin. And we saw some shades of the past with Javonte last week, 70-plus yards. His first game over 4 yards rushing in his last 14. We got to see it from him. And he was at one point signaling to the sideline, feed me, let's go. He was feeling it. So I like that. Maybe finally he's turning the corner and getting in sync with the offensive line, getting to the point where he's got that confidence to break tackles, because that's been missing since the knee injury. It missed most of last year. It missed the beginning of this year. But they need him to run the ball well. And, you mix in a little bit of Jaleel McLaughlin, kind of go from there. But why is the run so important? And I'm going to tell you why. Because it will allow you to use the skill set appropriately of Bo Nix. Sean Payton in preseason called plays for Nix that looked a lot like Oregon. We got him out in space, used the RPO, used his legs. I'm like, this is going to work. We just haven't seen that. He drops back entirely too much, still top 10 in dropbacks. It's just been career, for me, you're stunning his growth, frankly, by dropping him back 35, 40 times a game. So if you're able to run the football, and this line took it personally against Tampa Bay and certainly against the Jets, able to run the football, and you stay stubborn with it, the play action game will open up. Maybe we finally see one deep strike to Marvin Mims. I'm not counting on it. They don't throw to him. He's going as a ghost at Halloween. He already picked out his costume. But maybe we see a big strike to he or Troy Franklin. But you just are allowed then to get him out on naked bootlegs, RPOs, one-side reads, simplify the game for him. I mean, Kirk Cousins had 509 yards passing last night in the Thursday night game, and the Falcons win. Bo Nix has right at 660 in 4 games. It's just their passing attack, the Broncos passing attack right now, net passing 159 yards a game. That ranks 27th. He ranks near the top in interceptions with 4, 22nd. I mean, they're averaging 15 points a game, folks. That's 28th. 4.34 yards a play. That's 29. His yards per attempt, it's right around 4.5, 5 yards. There's more to him. I still believe there's more to him. And it's early. I'm not saying I'd give up on Bo Nix a quarter into a season. But I've seen it with my own eyes in training camp and the Packers scrimmage during the preseason. There's more there. But it syncs up with the play calling with Sean Payton and the ability to run the football and show balance. Payton has to stay stubborn here. And it might still be ugly. You realize Sean Payton has not won a game with a 300-yard passer since COVID. 2020 with Drew Brees, they killed the Vikings like 52-33. So I'm not expecting 300 yards in a win. I'm not. And I'm not one of these guys that's going to say, I want to see Nix play well and them lose. I just want to see Nix show that he's a serviceable NFL quarterback, and then as he starts to gain traction in the season, we start seeing more and more. But is it too much to ask for, 18 for 30, 230 yards, and then one touchdown passing, maybe 40, 45 yards rushing? That should not be a big ask. But last week, he was shot putting the ball. He wasn't comfortable. There's no separation other than Cortland Sutton. That's not going to work. So I plead with you, Sean Payton, establish the run game. Stay stubborn with it and make Bo Nix part of the run game. Make him part. Get him going. Get him going with a couple quick runs. Get him a quick slant. Get him some confidence. And not everything behind the line of scrimmage. Now, if you're going to throw a ball line of scrimmage, how about a gash play like you do a delayed screen or a slip screen, a bubble screen? I don't like the bubble screen. I'll take that back because it ends up with Greg Dulcich out there blocking, and it is an absolute tragedy. I don't want to see that play. Pretend you never heard that. But I do think there's a way to get him going with some slants, get him some confidence, get him running with a quarterback draw. Now, all of a sudden, I want to see. I was talking to Alfred Williams the other day about this. You guys all know Big Al from KOA, and I covered him when he was on the Broncos championship teams. He's like, I want to see some swagger from Bo Nix, some attitude, because he hasn't lost confidence. And whatever you do not ask Sean Payton if Bo Nix has confidence or if he has confidence in him. Payton literally loses his mind. It's like, confidence? Wait, what? Yes, he's playing great. He's playing great. It's like this spider sense tingling. Must say this response. He's not playing well, but it's okay. He's young, but Peyton's got to do his part. Get a game plan that works to his skill set. Peyton has got to resist the gravitational pull to throw the football. You don't have the weapons. Your tight ends have been awful. Your number 2 receivers, Lil Jordan Humphrey. I mean, you got to run the football first. That needs to be the identity and work off of that. And as you do, I believe that's when we'll start to see the best of Bo Nix. We'll see the best of Bo Nix. But we need to see more. And this game sets up as a statement. Again, Raiders defense, folks, they are a team that allows 5.64 yards per play. That's 24th. Points per game, they rank 25th in the league. Net rushing, they are allowing right at, as I said, 138 yards per game. Net passing, 207, 17th. They're not taking the ball away. And if Max Crosby, who has a sack, I believe, in 8 straight games against the Broncos, does not play or is limited, that's even another advantage. And Alex Polcheski at right tackle, he's putting in work. The kid played, I think I read 65 college starts. Bo Nix had 61. That is an insane number. It's literally like starting for 6 years in college. And he didn't play last year, but so essentially he's in his 8th year of football. Most kids come out of college after 3 college seasons. He's in his 8th. So in a way, I'm not shocked, but man, he's been gritty. He's been grimy. I like what I see, but with no Devontae Adams, there's no way he's playing because they're going to trade him likely to the Jets, Saints, Cowboys, pick a team, maybe even the Bills. But I'd say Jets are clear front runner. Then if he doesn't play, Crosby's limited. Christian Wilkins is a handful in front, no doubt. But their defense is not playing great. They're not getting takeaways. This sets up for Bo time. It's Bo time. Time for him to show the player we saw in the preseason and show it over the course of 60 minutes. And he's more than capable of doing that. But let's be honest. Why are we so dangerously optimistic about this team right now? It's the defense. The Orange Crush defense is coming back to be honored with Randy Gradishar at halftime. Gradishar, as you all know, going into the Hall of Fame. Guy, all he did was average like 200-plus tackles a year for 10 years. He's going to the Hall of Fame on a defense that had Tom Jackson, Louis Wright, Lyle Alzado, Bob Swenson, Foley. Just great players defensively. I'm not saying that this defense is that, but they got some dudes. And one of them who is setting the example, he's a guy you build a culture around. He has the energy of a puppy who just stole my shoe and is running around the house. That is Jonathon Cooper. This guy plays with a motor that is just noticeable, whether it's play 1 or play 50. The guy is redlining it. And it's the same thing we see from Zach Allen. And at times you can be a little out of control that way, but for the most part, those kind of high motor guys succeed consistently. And Jonathon Cooper led them in sacks last year with 8.5. He has 3 in 4 games this year. He led the entire NFL in pressure rate in the opener against Seattle. But where is that inspiration coming from? Where does it come from with Jonathon Cooper? Well, I learned last summer about his love for Spider-Man. And so I followed up this week in a one-on-one interview. He has 2 Spider-Man tattoos on his left forearm, right through here. the web and the Spider-Man logo. And he sees himself, and he will talk about it. He sees himself through Spider-Man. His mom sacrificed everything to give him opportunity. She was 17, I believe, if my memory serves, when he was born. A very young mother. And she was like a straight A student, graduated top of her class, did everything still with a young child. Now, Jonathon and his 3 sisters, she has inspired him to be responsible and dedicated, and you see it on the field and off the field. This guy was a 2-time captain at Ohio State. He has, as I wrote in my column today at the Denver Post, he's the guy your mother never warned you about. It's like he just finished his homework and he's heading to a workout every time you talk to him. He's that guy, folks. And he's part of the reason this Vance Joseph defense is working. He's a culture builder. He's a tone setter. So let's hear from Jonathon Cooper about his love for Spider-Man, his importance of family, and this rivalry game coming up against the Raiders.
Spider-Man, the whole Bully Maguire thing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you feel yourself go into a mode like that?
Yeah.
What is that? Is
Yeah.
it something that comes over to you? Do you say something? And
It's just the competitive nature, I feel like. I've always thrived when it comes to just competing and when competition is out there, and the competition doesn't get any better than each Sunday with these teams. So, that's always brought out something in me, just my competitive nature, and just want to go out there and dominate. I want to make sure I show myself and make sure they see who I am every single time I step out there, and never want to put anything bad on film or somebody who you're not on film.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, each time I step out there, I want to make sure I'm showing the type of person I am.
one thing I've told people, the defense is playing amazing, but the relentless effort that I see from Zach and you feels like it's a common thread, kind of helps power it. Do you notice what he does? And is it part of what, I mean, I'm not saying you weren't doing it before, you were, but how much can that power a defense?
Man, so much so, effort is something that I feel like doesn't get talked about enough when it comes to just defense.
Right.
When you go out there and you got people running to the ball, running out the stack, pass rushing, getting pushed on the pocket, always getting out to the quarterback, that makes the offense just have to respect everything that you do. It makes them more cautious and aware because, that guy might not get there, but this guy might, or this guy doesn't get there, then another guy might, and it has you always constantly just worried. And if you have an offense like that on their heels, then, that makes it better for us.
You had told me last year that part of the Spider-Man thing is superhero to help protect your sisters. Is that still the case?
No, 100%, man, 100%. They always see me as Spider-Man, and that's why I say black suit Spider-Man, man, because he's a savage for real. And even if you read comics and stuff, you'll be able to see that. So, right. And I'll read the comics.
You do?
Yeah, I used to collect comics. I still kind of do, but that's how I get it all.
Why him?
Spider-Man?
Yeah, why him? I mean, you told me you love him. Why him?
I mean, the whole thing that comes back to is the responsibility thing.
Right.
And
with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, you got it. And that's always just what I believe since a kid. My mom kind of helped me with that too.
She showed
hard
you everything,
work.
right? The way she had to work and
she did
put herself through school. And
she did, but she also said just being responsible, and making sure that you're there for your sisters and taking care of them and everything like that. And that's what I kind of wore on my chest when I was growing up and everything like that. So, I always just want to keep it like that and just, I tie it back to Spider-Man all the time. But my son loves Spider-Man right now, too.
So how old is he now?
He's 3.
How old? What's his name?
Javier.
Okay, so he's 3, and you got him into Spider-Man now?
He did it himself.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, it's got to be in the genetics.
Yeah.
It's in the blood.
So did he find a comic, or he saw it on TV?
Oh no, I love it. He likes with Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends, the little Disney show and stuff like that. Yeah, no, he loves it, and he's always telling me to turn it on, and I don't think it's because of me. But, like I said, them genetics got to run strong.
Right.
And Spider-Man's always been my guy, so it's nice to see him take that.
Did you ever consider for your sack celebration doing the web?
Nah, I gotta come up with a better sack celebration. Hopefully, some of my guys in the room can help me with that.
That last thing is, when you go into a rivalry game like this, because you played in the biggest one, Ohio State, Michigan, do you sense it's a rivalry? Is it a bigger part of a picture? Like, if we're going to get where we got to go, we got to beat AFC West teams.
Both. I always say both just because of the history when it comes to the rivalry between the Broncos and the Raiders. But then also, like you said, in order for us to get to where we want to get to, we have to win and beat teams like this, specifically the teams in our division. So, more emphasis on that this week as well.
Do you get a bump from wearing the jerseys, the old school orange?
Hey, I've got to, right? Have to. There's got to be some type of bump with that. So, I'm excited to wear it. I'm excited to put it on and, go out there and do what we do for the city.
Yeah, how can you not like Jonathon Cooper? I mean, if you spend 5 seconds around this guy, he's inspiring. His work ethic, his talent, just his energy. I always told kids when I coached for years with my sons in baseball. I coached all sports, but most predominantly baseball. You control your effort and attitude. You don't control outcome, especially in baseball. You can smoke a ball, you line it right to someone, you do everything right, and you get out. Next guy up hits a ball at the end of the bat and gets an infield single. Baseball, you don't control the outcome, but you do control your effort and attitude, and to even in this case your energy. And he personifies that. That's why coaches love him, teammates love him. When you see him get a sack, it's a race to congratulate Jonathon Cooper. And the other thing about him is, while he does a lot of things he's right way, he has some swag about it. He'll let a quarterback, he'll speak his truth to the quarterback. He'll talk some smack now. He will. And I like that. I mean, with the best Broncos teams I covered, and it feels like a decade ago because it almost has been, Malik Jackson, Aqib Talib, Chris Harris, TJ Ward, they were going to put you in the turf and they're going to let you know about it. And if they got an extra, played beyond the whistle, got a personal foul, it was the price of doing business. And this team can't afford that because they have no margin for error. But Cooper brings an edge to him. He brings an edge to him. And so, hard not to root for him, but Spider-Man is his guy. He does everything right on and off the field. And he is a big part of a defense. And that's where we'll finish today. I just want people to understand how well this defense has played under Vance Joseph, and why, if this continues, Vance Joseph is going to have an opportunity to be the head coach again in this league. I'm the one that told you when they brought him back. I loved the idea because I thought he got set up to fail as a head coach. I'm not going to get into all those details, but the roster stunk. They needed to start a rebuild, especially after 2017, which would have been his second year in 2018. It was an aging roster, just absolute ghost draft classes, from the Carlos Hendersons to the Paxton Lynch. I could go down. I mean, it's just terrible draft classes. But more than that, he didn't get to pick his staff. And he had guys on his staff undermining him. And he was drinking out of a fire hose. He probably wasn't ready. He's ready now. I have no doubt he'd do well as a head coach. When I talk to people about the Arizona Cardinals situation, they basically said he ran it there, that Kingsbury was in a lot of ways as an offensive coordinator. He doesn't really have the personality to be a head coach. He's a great offensive coordinator. He's showing that again with Jaden Daniels in Washington. What a fit. But VJ has those characteristics. And I just want to make sure we all understand what he's doing with this group right now, because it is beyond impressive when you look at the stats. And that's why I call it the orange crutch defense, because they're leaning on it too much. Let them be just the crushed part two. But right now, you're looking at a defense that is ranked second in net yards allowed, first in yards per play, fewest allowed, points per game. They rank third in football. Net rushing down to 110. Last year at this point last year it was at 177, folks. Third in net passing, 146. Sacks, 16. Second in the league. They are getting after it. They're confusing quarterbacks. They've got cloud blitzes or cloud coverages. They got pressure coming from the safety with P.J. Locke. We got it coming from the linebacker with Justin Cernad. We got pressure internally with Zach Allen. We got Jonathon Cooper and Nick Bonito, Jonah Ellis on the outside. I get excited talking about it because it's fun to watch. I mean, you get conditioned if you've covered the Broncos the last 8 years. You start to appreciate good defense because we don't see touchdowns. What's the 7 runs and you get tacos with the Rockies? Can we get 1 touchdown gets tacos for Broncos fans? I mean, this is the week. This is the week the offense carries the lunch pail for a little bit, carries the water, excuse me. I expect the defense to play well. I'm not expecting a breakout game, but I want a more functional offense, a more balanced offense, and I predict the Broncos win a low-scoring game, very similar to the one they lost last year in the opener, 17-16. I think they're going to win like 18-15, 20-17, somewhere in that range. I'd have them covering at 3 points because I think it's going to be a field goal game. But if Broncos, if you're serious about contending this year, and that would surprise me, I picked them to win 6 games. But if you're serious about contending, you got to beat the Raiders, and you got to beat the Raiders at home. And it starts this Sunday. Folks, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your support of this podcast. I could not do it without Big A behind the board. He's a Mets fan. He looks like he just came off just down some tequila, just did. Finished it off after that Oppo taco from our guy Alonzo on a changeup, a 3-1 changeup. OMG, are you kidding me? So Big A is happy today. That was a great playoff game. Just absolutely, I love October baseball, but I could not do it without him. I could not do it without Nate Lundy and Mile High Sports. Bet Online, a new sponsor. Thank you for them joining the show. And, of course, my man, Darby Hoggett, A1 from day one. Broncos country, I do this pod for you. Happiness that begins with me. Go out there and have a great day.